Hola, bom dia. Cole Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show. How are you today? Do let me know. We're going to be taking that Brexit bull by the horns today, and I don't like some sort of extra out of Doctor Who this morning. Let me just adjust my green screen before I completely disappear. Yeah, how are you doing? Tudo bem? Como estás? Do let me know. We speak Portuguese here a little bit anyway. So do let me know on this. Where are we at the moment on our days of the week? We are on, where were we? Just, I forget. You tell me this morning. Yeah, what is Wednesday? I've had a complete brain lapse with what the day of the week is. Of course, Nova de Decembro, but a little test for you this morning. What comes between Terça and Quinta-feira of the week? Do let me know, please. I do remember now, but I'm going to leave that hanging there for you. For you to answer, rather than for me to give you the answer every morning. So, what day of the week is it in Portuguese? First person to put that in the comments will get my utter adulation, and that's about as good as the prizes get here on the Good Morning Portugal show. So, your Brexit bull by the horns. The question that I want to ask you this morning. I know Brexit is boring, especially for people who aren't from Britain. It just seems to be like, Britain's big deal that they've been going on about for forever now. It's going to happen. We're obviously in the transition period, and the real deadline is the 31st of this month. And come the 1st of January, the reality of Brexit will be obvious to us, or will it? Will it on that day of the week? Let's find out what day of the week that is on the 1st of January this year. The 1st of January is going to be a Friday, so people will be waking up to a public holiday in the UK and probably all over Europe to some extent. It will be quiet, won't it? It'll be the lull after Christmas, and it's always a bit quiet on the 1st of January. And there are people with the most apocalyptic of fears, aren't there? That the whole of the road from Kent to the sea will be one long lorry park. All the systems will have crashed, and there'll be a food shortage. That's the apocalyptic vision, isn't it, of Brexit come the 1st of January 2021. And then for other people like me, actually, in many ways, I think, as people open the curtains and look at the news, and there will be this great hush. And it'll be a bit like the millennium bug, and it'll be like, oh, all of these things could have happened, but actually nothing appears to have happened. What do you think will be happening on the 1st of January? But then I suppose more importantly, that the trouble will begin, of course, as people try to trade and communicate with each other with new rules and laws and not quite knowing what to do. That as they go back to work, I think that's when it will be felt. As they start to travel, that's when it will be felt. And then the complications will ensue, I think, in the days after the 1st of January. And there'll be a lot of work for a lot of people to do to figure out what's going to happen. So what do you think will happen? But more importantly, what would you like to happen with the no deal Brexit that Boris is flying to Brussels to figure out in the coming days? What do you think is the best situation for all concerned? That's the context of my question here. A lot of you are expats in Portugal from all over the world. We were in Portugal. Portugal has some skin in the game with this, obviously, with its relationship with Great Britain and its relationship with the EU. There are Americans watching. And there is the possibility of a new kind of trade deal with America, and anyone else who's listening from anywhere else in the country. New trade deals with Great Britain, United Kingdom are in the pipeline. What do you think is the best outcome for all concerned? Do let me know. I'd love to hear your views on that. I also was doing a little bit of research this morning on how, yesterday we said blessed are the cheesemakers, and we were hoping to come to the aid of the Portuguese cheese industry and buy traditional cheeses in Portugal to help the Portuguese cheese industry, which is having a really difficult time at the moment. I go online to do the obvious thing and find out where to buy it and to actually support cheesemakers, because it is problematic getting to the market. Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, there are some additional challenges to going out. It has that's true, but still, we can go out, and my market is open up the road on a Saturday. But if we want to help by buying cheese online, artisan cheese, craft cheese, not that kind of craft cheese, online. What's the best way to do it? Do any of you buy cheese online? So yes, we would love to help the Portuguese cheese industry, but how do we do that? So if you've got any tips on that, I'd gratefully receive them. So let's take a quick look at the weather this morning, because I get a bit like Brexit. I'd given you a real sort of doomsday, apocalyptic view of the weather, of rain as far as the eye could see, and rain as far as the skin could feel. I'm struggling to get this on my screen this morning, but it actually looks like a lovely day out of my window this morning. Tell me how it is for you, and I'll tell you what the prediction is for the weather today around the country. There you go. Look, a lovely new banner. The weather in Portugal with Expats Portugal. Lisbon, 12 degrees and overcast at the moment. 18. Yes, so there is the threat of rain in the capital, and so we're back to that. But what is the reality if you're there this morning? 18 degrees, the high to look forward to today and tomorrow, and similarly throughout the rest of the week. But the rain, it remains the forecast in the capital. And let's go to Porto now, and thank you for the starter screen of Porto from Joel from Safari, who's in this morning. Good morning to you, mate. Thank you for letting me use that lovely picture of yours of Porto from the Douro River. Great picture. Porto, your weather, 7 degrees, mostly cloudy this morning. And again, we're back to that forecast that says it's going to be rain. Biblical rain in Porto, as in Lisbon. 12 degrees the high only, though, in Porto this morning and today, unlike Lisbon's 18. But it will rise. The temperature will rise throughout the rest of the week. But you've got a rainy weekend by the look of it. I actually can't believe it's Wednesday already. These weeks are spinning around faster and faster. Is anyone else experiencing that? Coimbra, 6 degrees and overcast at the moment, but still the same biblical rain proposition for the next 7 days. Faro, are you letting the side down with... Are you going to break the pattern of the biblical rain? Yes, you are. Well done. 16 degrees will be the high today. Currently 12 and mostly cloudy. Rainy day tomorrow, cloudy day on Friday, and a little bit of sun at the weekend. Look at those wonderful temperatures they're still getting in Faro at this time of year as we run up to Christmas. 20 degrees on Saturday is the forecast in Faro. So I can be pulled into weather into other districts of Portugal, but look, it's rain pretty much all the way. A little bit of cloud, Castelo Branco today. Well done, you guys. Castelo Branco, a little bit of sunshine, ever the same. So central, inland, Alentejo, a little bit better in terms of seeing the sun. But as I scroll down, you'll see the picture here. It's rain, go away, basically. Guarda, Porto Alegre, as you might imagine. Yes, going to central and to Alentejo, holding up with a bit of sun there. But look, rain as far as the eye can see. In the Azores, a cloudy day with a bit of sun for the next 3 days. And the only place that's really got full-on sunshine in all of Portugal will be Madeira tomorrow, with a lovely 16-degree sunny day in Madeira tomorrow. So there you go. There's your weather. We will have a look at the news in Portugal as well. Talking of Brexit, and not many of you seem to want to right now, but I would like your best outcome. Deal, no deal, or just wish the Brits would shut up and go, whatever you think it is. But ideally, I'm looking for that outcome that suits all of the players involved, okay? Because it has been turned into a polarized political battle. This is how it's with the British press that I stay in touch with. It's like, are Britain going to get their way against the EU? But actually, what would be the best outcome for all concerned? Yes, we get it. The result was, the Brexit referendum result was to leave. And now that's done, I guess we're moving on from whether that should be the case or not. The decision has been made. UK is leaving. But surely we can get to this amicable state now, can't we? Like a relationship breakdown. Once all the sort of emotional fire has been put out, surely you're starting to think practically. How can we best move on, taking on board all of our respective concerns, okay? So that the UK can keep buying 1 in 4 of every Audis that are sold, apparently. How can they can remain the biggest consumers of champagne in the world? How can we come to amicable agreements about all those sorts of things? Absolutely right, Gail. It did come to me in the end today. Quarta-feira, Wednesday, Novo de Decembro this year, or 2020, the great year of 2020, which will obviously go down in history. Elsa Riley just popped in very quickly. Hola, bon dia. Zoom at 9:15. None of us thought we'd be saying that last year, did we? Oh, got a Zoom here, got a Zoom there. That's what we do now, isn't it, these days? She's got a Zoom at 9:15, so won't be with you for all of the show. And it stopped raining in North Wales. Fantastic. Louise Bondia listening while walking the neighbour's dogs. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, Louise. Safiro, your picture used this morning. Bondia to you, Joel. And hope to have your company again in the Expat Man Cave on Friday night, where, of course, you are our resident Portugueser, who will tell us about all things Portuguese. You were telling us a few of the... I don't know what's the best way of putting it. How to swear in Portuguese, basically. That's what happens in the Expat Man Cave. That was last Friday. Could have been worse, I have to say. It was quite a civilized look at such words last Friday. And thank you for your continued service to all of our Good Morning Portugal, the Portugal Show, and Expat Man Cave outings that we have. Gary's here, everybody. Haven't heard anything about HGV parking in France, have you? No. It's more TGV than HGV over there in France, I think. See what I did there? Paul says, and thank you, Gary, this morning. Gary, of course, leading our port tasting tomorrow night. If you've not joined us on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, join us tomorrow night, where Gary will be treating us to a port. And I believe it's a white port, given that you can have ruby, tawny, or white. Gary, if you've had enough coffee this morning, please pop in a link to the said brew. Paul Williams, a Brit in southern Portugal. Bon dia from a cloudy eastern Portugal. I think Remainers have told us their worries, but Leavers seem unable to tell us the benefits. Well, the floor is there for those who might want to do that this morning. Bon dia from a rainy Cascais. So, yep, raining in Cascais. I can imagine the palm trees blowing in the wind in my mind's eye. They can to you, Anna. Quarta-feira. Well done, Andrew. Maybe I should do this every morning. Get your grey matter working with a vocabulary check. That's pretty respectable. Well done, Gail and Andrew, so far. Yep, it's a lovely morning and in Anadia, where we are. Both Louise and I are in Anadia in the Aveiro district. The best in days. A lovely bright morning looking out from my slightly condensation covered window. Lol, I'm trying not to comment on the Brexit. Come on, Joel, you're among friends here. Would love to know what Portuguese people think about. Actually, that's a really good point. What do Portuguese people think about Brexit? I know we have Portuguese people who live in UK who listen, and they can tell us what they think and how they would like it to be, obviously, as they carry on living in the UK. 400,000 Portuguese people, I believe, in the UK. What would your ideal outcome be? And of course, Portuguese people like Joel in Portugal, what are the Portuguese people on the streets saying? That's why it's so good to know people like you, Joel, is we get to find out from real Portuguese people what they think, rather than having to get the view through the news or even to guess. Hello, Monica Miles. Hope you had a good birthday. So belated birthday parabéns to you, Monica Miles, this morning. And Gareth. Okay, Gareth usually has something to say about Brexit. There is not a deal that is acceptable to the Brexit loons. It's got to that. He's not over it. That will meet the requirements of the 27 to allow proper access to the single market. So, Gareth, your fear then is that it will be a walk away from Boris, will it? There will be no deal, because it looks like Emmanuel Macron is pushing a little bit harder than others among the 27, right? To not appear to be caving in to Boris. It's getting down to the testosterone, I think, isn't it? Okay. It's say more by all means. And Sean Maguire, I think on the matter of Brexit, it's an oh dear, bon dia, my dear. Very good. Maybe we should just be talking about cheese then. Where to get it though, guys? Where are we going to get cheese by mail order in Portugal? It's all very well us wanting to help, but how do we do that? How can we give cheese a shot in the arm? It's all about a shot in the arm at the moment in the news, isn't it? Anyone had the vaccination yet? There's another thing we could talk about this morning. Short answer to Brexit: it's dumb. Okay. And I think so. What I'm gathering from that is that we're still in the emotion of it, aren't we? We are still in the emotion rationalization phase of this. People are still sore, and it's not very easy at the moment to talk about what's the logical thing to do, or the pragmatic and practical thing to do. And maybe that's human beings all over, isn't it? We'll just have to wait until the early new year, and if we won't figure out practically what to do now, we will have to figure out practically what to do when the time comes, perhaps. Okay. Good morning, darling. I'm all set. Caravan done. Well done, Debbie. Decorations up. I'm sure the listeners would like to know how it all went with raising the ark. Glad to come on again and discuss with photos. Debbie, of course, had a terrible flood around this time last year. And it was dismal, but through the kindness of wonderful people, as often, that's when we show ourselves as human beings, isn't it? We show our best in a crisis, and people came to Debbie's aid. And to avoid the same thing happening this year, there's been a major project going on in that part of Castelo Branco to raise the caravan up on blocks above the waterline to stop something terrible happening again. She's had a very difficult year or two as Debbie. So glad to hear that you're nice and cozy in your caravan. It's up higher and the Christmas decks are up. How about a photo of the Christmas decorations, Debbie? But glad to hear you're doing well. And yeah, let's talk to you again on the show. Mr. Europe cave in. He can't afford to if he wants to get re-elected. That's Monsieur Macron, I think. Mr. Europe, I think you're calling him. It's all a bit sort of personal and eggy, I think. Still, we're not down. It's too soon, isn't it, for me to ask for logical, practical, and pragmatic approaches to this. People are still sore and may remain so for months, even years, maybe even generations to come. Who knows? So Gary's saying there, Mr. Europe. Will cave in. He can't afford to. Oh yeah, he can't afford to cave in if he wants to get re-elected. That's for Macron. So not the only high-ranking official looking for re-election in Europe. Alongside our Marcelo there. Bon dia from a rainy Nottingham. A Portuguese person living in UK. Bon dia from rainy Nottingham. Portuguese hubby talks regularly with his friends in Portugal, and they mostly feel confused why we would have chosen this. And the other view is they believe we are a little stupid. So married to a Portuguese there, Michelle, thank you. They believe we are a little stupid. Okay, I did ask, and there's an answer for you. Oh, my word. Okay, now on that matter, tomorrow evening, on our Thursday Portugal Calling webinar, we have another conversation with the British Embassy. This is for Brits who are a little bit concerned about what they need to do. And we have from the consulate in the Brexit countdown, we have that won't be playing, will it, on the 31st of December? Well, maybe it will in some households. But tomorrow night, Thursday, quinta-feira, dia 10 de dezembro, from 8 o'clock till 9 Lisbon time, let's discuss citizens' rights, residency and healthcare in Portugal. Are you prepared? We will be talking to Marta and Simona from the consulate of the British Embassy tomorrow night. And who knows, my friend the ambassador may pop in. We shall see. A glass of wine optional for that, it says in the notes. So do book that up. At the expatsportugal.com website, our expatsportugal.com website. And thanks, incidentally, for the recent premium upgrades that have been coming in. Really makes a difference to us being able to offer this kind of service to you. Really appreciate that. And on the 15th of December, when's that? Oh, only 6 days away. I will have I think one or two of the staff from IOM who are helping in Portugal. They help all over the world on the matter of immigration. They are so they kind of work at the highest levels around the world, dealing with migration. They have a Portuguese team who are helping Brits who are in some sort of distress. Now, if you might not want to mention that, you might not want to out yourself this morning if you have anxiety and worries about your position in Portugal at the moment, if you're a Brit. But this has been exacerbated, obviously, by the transition period and what's going to be happening from the 1st of January. And I will be talking to some of the folks who are dealing with that particular aspect of the IOM's work And I think they're connected with the United Nations, but they help migrants all over the world. And there is an issue clearly, or there might be for some people, some Brits who are getting a little bit worried. On the top level, we're saying, yeah, you've got to do. The British Embassy is saying you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and that's fair enough. But there might be special cases, and there might be people who are getting anxious now about it, and the IOM can help with that. And I will have representatives on the show on the 15th. That's next Wednesday, isn't it? Let me just confirm that. Sorry, next Tuesday, beg your pardon. I tell you what, at this time of year, at Christmas time, normally by the 26th of December, I had no idea what day it is, and don't really know until early January what the day is. And now with the pandemic as well, I very rarely know what day of the week it is. I just need to know if I'm on air or not. But it's really bizarre. I don't know if that's happened to you as well. Like I said, like this morning, I didn't know what the day was in Portuguese. I didn't really know what the day was in English, if I'm honest. But next Tuesday, the 15th, we will be talking to some of the representatives of the IOM who are available to help British people who might feel vulnerable, anxious, and in a difficult position. Okay, and you can get help from them. That's what they're there for, to help in such a situation. So join us on the show if that's you. Obviously, you don't have to, make that plain or clear or embarrass yourself in any way if you are facing difficulties, but you'll be able to find that information on how they can help you. Hubby, apparently over in Nottingham, Portuguese husband of Michelle, living in Nottingham in the UK. Hubby is very, very anti-Brexit and still upset that he couldn't vote despite having paid his taxes here for over 20 years. His words. That's a fair point, isn't it? To be a part of British culture for that long and not have a say in the future of the country. That is not good. And I can understand his frustration and accept his view there. Absolutely, Michelle. And Gary, enough saber rattling, don't you think? Time to get something solid sorted out for all concerned in Europe. Yeah, that's where I was trying to take it, Gary. And not to make fun of it, but I mean, clearly this is still a very emotional and difficult issue for people. This has gone to, I think, whilst a lot of the high-ranking political Brexiteers it was just in a way, it was, you see that, don't you, on Nigel Farage's face, this sense of victory and fun, and it's part of his career. He gets to be right, and it's not very, there's no sort of, I don't know. To me, there seems to be a lack of an understanding of the suffering it might cause. For him, it's important to be right, isn't it? And this is how it goes in politics, of course. A very cold-hearted business, you could say. And they just hadn't reckoned, had they, on people's emotional attachment to the ideas of Europe. And that's going to take some time to heal. And that's what is clouding the possibility of where I was trying to take this morning. Practical, pragmatic, and logical and logistical concerns. What do we do now? This is where we're at. What do we do about it? But clearly, too soon. I usually know it's Saturday if you don't show up. This is where we've got to. Will knows it's Saturday if I don't show up at 9 a.m. in the morning. Must have thrown you yesterday with my 50, or was it Monday with the 15-minute delay? Yesterday, through the calendar a bit with your 15-minute delay, I survived. Well, I mean, in some ways, it's rather good, I think, that we're going into this sort of timelessness, and we're living in the moment more, perhaps. Is that a silver lining? We're living in the moment, and we're being spontaneous and momentary, and not being too hung up on these conventions of what day of the week it is. Oh my goodness, we know where you were. What in bed? Having overslept. Did I say that? Okay, Portugal resident. Let's take a look at some of the news. Is there a Brexit mention here? I'm seeing a little sign. Actually, it's funny, isn't it? You're never more than about 30 meters away from a little sign. In Portugal, probably anywhere in Europe. I'm just trying to see which are the worthwhile stories to share from you possibly this morning. Still no news on buying Portuguese cheese. Come on, let's do our bit to help the blessed cheesemakers. Do I share with you this morning Portugal's virus update? Really, the headline is less active cases, less hospital admissions, more warnings to avoid family and friends. I think we do need to look at that. Some people let's be honest. Some people are going to be quite happy. I mean, I know others of you, it's gutting to know that you can't see family at this time of year, with people not being able to fly and the quarantine and just the difficulties of being with family and loved ones who you do want to see. But for some people, the warnings to avoid family and friends, those very introverted people and people who don't get on with their families, this might be a silver lining for them. On a day, it says Natasha Don, this was yesterday, when the gradual decrease of active cases is at last filtering through to numbers in hospitals, the General Medical Council has issued another loaded warning. There is no Christmas or New Year for the virus. Put off non-essential trips, always use a mask, wash your hands frequently and avoid large groups of people, even if they are family members or friends. The numbers of cases, let's take a look at this. The numbers of cases, and let me have a sip of my tea for a moment while we just take a breath and gird our loins for this. Let me just create a better background for you upon which to view this. Okay, here we go. Riding home for Christmas. Must get a different song to sing. Okay, seriously now, the number of cases in the General Medical Council opinion is still very high, posing a significant risk to the safety of everyone and the integrity of the SNS Health Service. And I think it's fair to say the Christmas restrictions that seem pretty liberal by global standards are premised on this continued trend of curves flattening and numbers going down. It's worth mentioning that. While mainstream media continues to emphasize the total death count attributed to COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, 5,122, the truth is the number of active cases hasn't been this low in weeks. And this is what I love about Natasha's reporting here. Well done, Natasha Don. So the number of active cases hasn't been this low in weeks. Good to know. 70,426. Recoveries too are continuing apace. 6,585 in the last 24 hours. Recoveries, that's 3,680 more people recovered than the 2,905 who have tested positive. And remember, many test positive with either no symptoms at all or only very light symptoms, or dare I say it, with a false positive, with the PCR test that's been shown to be a little bit iffy. That's not Natasha, that's me saying that. In other words, as the country approaches the December 18th deadline the government has set for assessing the situation before Christmas, the evolution of the pandemic is looking much more positive than it was even a week ago. Deaths are still high, however. In the last 24 hours, we've seen 81 deaths in which COVID-19 appears to have been present. She's choosing her words carefully there, isn't she? In which COVID-19 appears to have been present. That is not to say the victims were killed by the virus, but their death certificates registered that they had tested positive for COVID-19, even post-mortem. Good heavens. The majority of deaths, 44, were in the north. And that's the pattern that continues, isn't it? That we've been hit worst in the north of Portugal, where the number of new cases was also the highest at 1,584. There were 22 deaths in the Lisbon, Val de Tejo area and 758 new cases. Then the central region, 13 deaths, 418 new cases. Alentejo, 1 death, 40 cases, new cases. And finally, the Algarve, no deaths in the Algarve and 75 new cases there. Madeira, the autonomous districts Madeira and Azores registered very few new cases, 15 each, but 1 death in the Azores. Data these days rarely mentions age groups of the dead, which suggests they were elderly victims with other pathologies or comorbidities. For the first time in recent weeks, the number of people being treated in ICUs is below 500. The number of patients in general wards has also reduced in the last 24 hours by 104. Meaning there are now 3,263 in the country in hospital due to COVID-19. Meantime, Artipe reports that the General Medical Council is in fact pushing the government to set limits on how many family members can meet over the Christmas period. For the time being, however, no limits have been set. Thank you, Natasha Don, in the Portugal resident. Now, what we could deduce from here, I think, is that the picture is pretty good. Obviously not for those who've died or lost loved ones. You know, that remains the case. That is utterly grim, and I do not mean to be disrespectful or gloss over that. However, in the bigger picture, these are very good. These indications are very good, aren't they? And you can understand why there is not a song and dance from a public health level. there isn't a song and dance, is there? It remains gloom and doom, I think, because perhaps the public health officials and the government don't want people to feel that it's all over and we're back to normal. Maybe that's what's going on. But between us, people here who can intelligently look at that, I think it's safe to say that's great. The current trend is very, very good. Good to see those numbers, and I hope it will continue in that way. Valerie Spencerbeck is here. Wet old day down here on the coast, but off to the new office, yay, in San Martino de Porto. I'm looking forward to my invitation there so I can get my ball gown out on my high heels and have a cocktail with you in early January there. She has the most amazing office, does Valerie, in the bay of San Martino de Porto. I have sat in the cafe opposite, or should I say next to Valerie's new office. Fabulous. I mean, if you're thinking of getting property in the Silver Coast, she's obviously someone to talk to, and you can have a lovely time meeting with Valerie and having a coffee and just sitting watching that beautiful view there in San Martino de Porto from the new office. So she's looking forward to 2021. And is celebrating, exciting today because she's celebrating a friend's birthday. That's lovely. Refuse to get bogged down in all the politics and the darkness. You are breathing. You can smile. You can laugh. Enjoy. Yes, Valerie. Well said. Well said. Gianni, bon dia, car IOM. Can you put a link for a friend who is from South Africa, but living as a resident in Norway for 4 years? Maybe they can help. Yes, I can. This is. I'll put that in the comments for you now. I mean, they're a massive organization, and who I'm speaking to next Tuesday are the people who can help vulnerable Brits who are struggling with the effects of Brexit. Okay, just to make sure you understand what it is that's happening on Tuesday. But yeah, the IOM, there is a link for you in the comments now, and I'll put it on the screen so you can see that as well. IOM.int. Okay, that's the I don't even know what it's done. I think it's they are so deep into what they do. I'm not sure they've even told us what the acronym stands for, but it goes back a long way, and it's all about migration. And obviously, you know, but in terms of world migration, the problem for Brits is very much a first world problem. I think they are in deep at the most difficult end of migration around the world. But obviously, there are vulnerable people. There may well be vulnerable people in this transition that's been caused by Brexit, and they are here to answer questions about that on Tuesday. Linda has just shared the link for the port wine. Thank you, Linda. Good morning to you. Hope you had a fabulous birthday the other day. Belated birthday best to you. Live on air here. Nothing wrong with a bit of Lido. Says Gary, who's working on a sponsorship deal. You're going to look great in those Lidl branded flip-flops in early January. Absolutely. Susan Renshaw, good morning. Going to get our S1 forms processed today. Wish me luck. Bosort to you, Susan. I'm popping down to my camera, so I'm not going to stick around too long this morning, but I'm going to the Camera Municipal just to make sure all my residencia ducks are in a row. Mine was slightly complicated because my passport didn't have as long a date on it as the rest of the family. So I just need to go and talk to them about that this morning. So yes, you and me both, a bit of boa sort with our respective bureaucracy this morning. Good morning to you, Susan. And thank you for being a part of this community. Interesting, says Ola Sperren, while working from home in Sweden. Is that generally what we're doing here, or a specific thing there, Ola? What a lovely name to have when talking in Portugal. Ola. We have only 300 ICU beds. That's why the death rate is high. No one seems to reference that, says Gary. Good point. And obrigada for that link to the IOM there from Gianni. I think I'm going to leave it there this morning. No one has come forward with a reputable source for the much-loved dairy produce that is queijo in Portugal. We need to find out how to buy cheese online in Portugal. And if there isn't an easy way of doing it, there's a fabulous business opportunity in the commercial queijo darkness that seems to be on the industry at the moment, with sales having dropped dramatically with the situation that we have at the moment. So, yeah, a business opportunity possibly there. Maybe Expats Portugal should have a look at that. We have a mail order section, including Portugal's wonderful cheeses and obviously port as well. Talk to my colleagues about that and wish you a very good day. And we'll see you tonight for a Portugal on the Portugal show, where actually I've no idea what we're going to be doing this evening. So the space is open. If you want to come and have an expat chat with me, if you want to do a Q&A, the space is there. Magic happens in the evening on the Portugal show from 10 o'clock Lisbon time. I'll be there. Hope you are too. And make it work best for you as somebody who wants to move to Portugal or somebody who is already living in Portugal. Here to serve you. And we'll be doing that from 10 o'clock tonight. Back in the morning with this Good Morning Portugal show, of course. Then tomorrow night, the webinar with the British Embassy to help anyone who needs to get themselves sorted out and ready for Brexit. And then after that, the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club from just after 9, where we'll be tasting a port. Finally, then, thank you. It's the International Organization for Migration, the IOM there. Thanks, Anna, and very good day to all of you. Bom dia. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Fica bem. Abraço.